Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of how two women were killed and their motive of their killer. Two women would be killed in a shooting in an apartment complex in Sacramento called the 1100s. The shooting happened around 10:40 p.m. on April 10th in the complex parking lot on Howe Avenue. Both women were later identified, one being a 35-year-old woman named Verda Robinson, also known as V, and the other woman was identified as 32-year-old Jessica Williams.
Reported shooting in the Arden Arcade area on Howe Avenue.
Let's get to Brady Halbleib live on the scene with what we're learning. I know it's early, Brady, but what do we know?
Yeah, that's right, guys. I'm just near the corner of Howe Avenue and Hurley Way, where police are investigating a shooting, and it appears that the main area of focus right now is this apartment complex just behind me. They have officers at each one of the entrances of this apartment complex. It's unclear if they're currently looking for a suspect at this point, but we do know at least one person has been shot, with reports that potentially two have been shot. The extent of their injuries is unclear at this time. But again, this is happening at Howe Avenue near Hurley Way, near the intersection here. And you can see the officers just gathering at one of the entrances here at this apartment complex. But still a lot of questions here. We are still trying to gather a lot of information into what exactly happened here. But of course, we will be sure to keep you updated as soon as we learn more, guys.
Yeah, Howe and Hurley, one of the busier intersections in Sac County, and lots of activity behind you, Brady.
Jessica Williams' older brother, Serge, was killed in a Sacramento 2022 mass shooting that happened outside of a club in downtown Sac that left 6 dead and 12 injured.
And earlier today, KCRA3's Aaron Heft had a chance to speak with his family.
Terrifying sounds from overnight, leaving 6 dead on K Street. One of the victims, this man, Sergio Harris. He was the first among the victims to be identified. Their family stood on K Street waiting since 2:30 this morning. Hours later, police confirmed Harris was killed overnight. His wife, Leticia Harris, shared with us this picture, saying Sergio was a father of 3. She describes him as a provider. He could always be found teaching their children life lessons. She said in closing, "This is a sad and terrible act of violence that took the lives of many. I want answers so I can have closure for my children."
By the next day, April 11th, detectives identified Ricky Hunter, who was 32, as a suspect in a double shooting that left both women dead. Police officers responded to an area for a report of a possibly armed suicidal person. The department later determined that the individual was possibly connected to the shooting a day prior. An arrest warrant was obtained, and Ricky was tracked to an AT&T store near the mall. With Ricky potentially being armed, detectives waited for him to exit the store before approaching him. Detectives tried to arrest Ricky once he got to his car, and inside his car, Ricky had a shotgun. Once Ricky seen the police approaching him, he used the shotgun and shot himself in the chest. Ricky would later be rushed to the hospital, where he would later die. This incident put the mall on lockdown and was broadcasted all over the news. This incident left 3 people dead in less than 24 hours.
Once we came out and the 2 young ladies were just laid out, it looked like they were trying to resuscitate one of the young ladies, but it was no good.
It is unknown if the victims or Hunter lived at the apartment complex, but authorities believe the shooting could be targeted.
Only he really knows kind of what led up to all this, at least right now. So this actually is related to the homicide from earlier, all kind of 2-round activation at the apartment complex on 1100 Howe. We also received several 911 calls. From there, deputies discovered 2 females that were shot. Both were actually declared deceased at the scene. So from there, obviously, a homicide investigation ensued. It's been going on all day, all night. Detectives were able to identify 32-year-old Ricky Hunter as the suspect. They were able to, again, work up all the information they needed, obtain an arrest warrant for both homicides for him. From there, detectives were able to track him to this area right here. Obviously, this falls under Sac PD's jurisdiction. This is where that collaboration comes in, working seamlessly with our partnering agencies, that they were also responding to a similar type call of what we were going to. So very seamless in terms of that portion of it. From there, deputies spotted him inside the AT&T store back here. Rather than try to apprehend a potentially armed subject inside the store with a lot of people, waited for him to actually get inside of his car, tried to arrest him inside the car. From there, he actually grabbed a shotgun, turned it on himself, shot himself in the chest. From there, deputies were able to, again, pull him out of the car, administer first aid.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says deputies tracked down a homicide suspect, Ricky Hunter, to the AT&T store near Ardent Fair Mall just after 2 p.m., but waited to arrest him until he got in his car.
We didn't want to endanger anybody else, create another situation that puts anybody else in the public at risk.
Sergeant Mar Gandhi says Hunter grabbed a shotgun and shot himself in the chest as deputies tried to arrest him. Hunter later died at the hospital.
Ricky was a well-known chef with a growing social media following, calling himself Chef Ricky. But Ricky had a lot going on behind the scenes, with him not living his truth. It was said the 2 women he murdered were going to expose Ricky for being gay, so he lost it and snapped killing both of them, fearing being exposed. Many people will go on the now deceased Ricky's Instagram account and go in his comments and bash him, but some people will take his side and defend him. But no matter what the situation was, it shouldn't have led to everyone losing their lives and affecting several families. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.